What's going on, guys? Alright, this was an unplanned video. I just thought to myself, you know what, haven't done an MMA talk video for a while. Recently I've been seriously thinking about just cutting the MMA portion of my channel. Just because, I mean, my target audience really is, I guess, the whole nerd culture world. But I recently realized that there's actually a lot of people who are into the nerd world that actually love MMA too. So I'm really in two minds about it. The main reason I'm really thinking about cutting is because I missed another event recently. I missed the Dos Santos and Curtis Blade card, and once I found out the result, I just didn't care to go back and watch it. Maybe because it made me sad that Dos Santos lost, and that never used to put me off. I used to avoid results on fight day, but sometimes I would just accidentally find out. I would still want to watch the card because I would still want to see how the fight actually played out. But yeah, recently I just feel like, I don't know, I've spent so much time making all these other videos. I feel like the MMA side of my channel is just, I don't know if it's worth doing anymore. And I'm not saying that I'm not a fan anymore. I'm going to always be a fan of mixed martial arts. I mean, I've been watching that stuff since VHS tapes, you know what I mean? So yeah, I do love it. Man, the older you get, just the less time you have available, you know what I mean? Anyway, I figured I'd make this one. It was literally spur of the moment. I came up with this idea today just to do a recap on the event that just went by this weekend. Jon Jones defended his title against Dominic Reyes. Yeah, it was a controversial decision, so I just thought I'd give my 2 cents. So this is the UFC 247 Jon Jones, Dominic Reyes recap. Let's do this. Alright, so I'll just make it a quick one. Obviously, a lot of people think that Reyes took the first 3 rounds, where Jones took the last 2. It was razor close. I gave Dominic the first 2 rounds. I gave Jones the last 2 rounds. The third one was close. At the time of watching it, I remember thinking that Jones was kind of winning the round, but by the time the round ended, I was just like, I can't see other people giving Jones that third round. Reyes came out in the first 3 rounds. At the start of each of those rounds, he came out guns blazing. I mean, I remember from the very first round, I was saying to my mate Lockie, he's fighting at a very frantic pace. I was like, if he keeps this up and he can't finish him early, he's gonna gas out. And that's pretty much exactly what happened. The first 2 rounds, he landed some decent shots, but really, I feel like the first 3 rounds, Dominic dominated for the first maybe minute to 90 seconds of the round, and then Jon Jones would slowly sort of edge his way back. So yeah, look, I gave the first 2 rounds to Reyes, last 2 rounds to Jones easily. The third round, like I said, from memory, I remember obviously Dominic came out firing again real quick start, but then that only lasted like maybe, yeah, a minute to 90 seconds, and then I feel like Jones was trying to sort of point his way back into the round. I felt like he was kind of doing that, but he wasn't urgent enough, which is why at the end of the third round I was like, I can't imagine people giving Jones that round. I don't even know who I gave that round to be honest. Like, I actually had money on Reyes too, but I kind of wanted Jones to win. But yeah, I think most of the MMA world, majority of them actually were leaning towards Dominic for the first 3 rounds, and that's fair enough. I don't disagree, but I feel like I can also defend if you thought Jones won, because yeah, if you actually look at the shots that Dominic was throwing, he really didn't land that many clean shots. Yes, he landed a couple, but I feel like, yeah, there wasn't actually that many clean shots. Jones didn't land that many clean shots either. Jones was mostly doing those little oblique kicks and things like that. But yeah, I was getting angry at Jon Jones. I felt like it was pretty clear that he probably lost those first 2 rounds. I felt like he should have come out in the third round with more urgency. In the championship rounds, Dominic clearly gassed. Literally halfway through that first round, I'm like, man, Dominic is fighting at a frantic pace. I don't know if he can keep this up. Dominic came out into that final round, just the look on his face was just like, do I really have to do this for another 5 minutes? When the fight ended, I assumed that Dominic probably won because, like I said, I couldn't imagine people giving Jones that third round. And especially when one of the scorecards was 49-46, I was like, well, that's over for sure, right? Even though I didn't make sense because I felt like Jones clearly won the last 2 rounds. Now, here's the thing with me. People think it was a robbery and things like that. But you know that age-old saying, to be the champ, you've got to beat the champ. And look, Joe Rogan seems to, and look, I'm not knocking Joe Rogan, I'm a big fan of Joe Rogan. I just don't always agree with what Rogan says. He, I think, feels very strongly that Jones lost that fight because he lost the first 3 rounds. But Rogan's also the guy who says, you know, he has that thing that he says about the whole schoolyard brawl theory, like, you know, whoever's winning the fight at the end, you know, when the teacher drags you off, is the person who won the fight. Jones dominated those championship rounds. So for me, even if Dominic got the nod, he was expecting to beat Jones and he said, no, I'm going to rematch him straight away. If he did get the nod, I think absolutely he should have rematched Jones because he lost the end of the fight. He lost the last 2 rounds. I wouldn't have been happy with winning a fight like that because the championship rounds, I mean, he kind of had your number in a way. So yeah, either way, I wouldn't have been angry either way. For me, it was just like, it is what it is. I think Jon Jones definitely got lucky to scrape by. But yeah, at the same time, it's not like, I don't think he lost that fight necessarily either. As far as scoring for MMA, that's been a lot of talk recently. And they're talking about how the 10-point must system sucks. Like Rogan is one of those people who says about, the 10-point must system sucks, it's boxing rules. But he also keeps talking about how he thinks that Yoel Romero beat Whittaker because there was a couple of those rounds where he knocked him down and things like that. If you say that a knockdown gives you a 10-8, then that is following the boxing rules. For me, the biggest thing I think in rounds and in judging a round is momentum. That's what means the most to me. Jones definitely swayed the momentum once those championship rounds began. So yeah, and I, to be honest, like the 10-point must system in a sense because in a way, it reminds me of, now I know you can't really compare these two sports, but let's just take tennis as an example. When it's like a 5-round fight or a 3-round fight, I kind of look at it like it's the best of. If you win a round 10-9, it's like you won that set, like in tennis, you won the set. So, I won the first round, then he won the second round. I feel like that's what it is kind of like. I kind of like that. It's kind of like you lost that set, but you still can recover and come back and win the next one, you know what I mean? So, and 10-8s for me are really just total domination for me to give it 10-8 rounds. So maybe I'm old school with that. I kind of like the way the rules are at the moment. I like the way that the weight classes are. I don't really want to see weight classes at every 10 pounds because some of those lighter weight divisions, there's just no one there, you know what I mean? That's just my opinion. At the end of the day, I don't really know who won this fight. It was close enough. I felt like Jones deserved the nod based on the fact that he was, Dominic just didn't have enough to perform. He didn't show championship caliber in those final 2 rounds. But yeah, definitely Jones escaped with a close one this time. What should he do next? I don't think going to heavyweight is a good decision for Jones. And here's another thing. As far as Jones being the GOAT, he's not my GOAT. He's definitely one of the GOATs. But to me, and I feel like I'm picking on Rogan here, he often compares Mighty Mouse to Jon Jones. And he often says that the title defense that Jones has had are against more higher caliber opponents, which I totally disagree with that. Jon Jones' most impressive defenses for me are Gustafsson, DC, Thiago Santos and Dominic Reyes. When he was running through guys like Shogun and Rashad and Rampage, I mean, look, let's be honest, those guys are on the downslope of their career, They weren't quite washed up yet, but they were definitely, he was like the new guy. They couldn't handle the new breed. So that's why I feel like Jon Jones had it easier fighting those veterans in the beginning. I feel like the younger, newer crop of fighters are by far the tougher challengers for anyone. It's a different time now, Shogun, Rampage, Rashad, all those guys, they came from another time, you know what I mean? When it comes to Mighty Mouse defending his title that record amount of times, you can say what you want about flyweight. They're not as accomplished because the division was never as accomplished. But if you look at the skill level of flyweights, every single one of them, I mean, they're the most well-rounded. I mean, I've never seen a flyweight fighter who was really bad at stand-up, or, they're all really good at scrambling as well. Like, yeah, that's just my opinion. I'm thinking about making a video if I do continue with this MMA stuff about my my MMA goats, maybe a top 5 list or something like that. Yeah. Anyway, I'm rambling about random stuff now. That's all for my 2 cents on this week's fight. Maybe I'll do another video soon on either a fight prediction or something else. We'll see what happens. If you do enjoy my videos and you do enjoy me talking crap about MMA, do leave in the comments that you do want me to continue with this, because I just don't know if I want to dedicate too much time to it. But yeah, if you do enjoy it and you do like my other content as well, if you like both, look, let me know. Alright, hope you enjoyed this one. Until next time, keep it simple.